Ma Tong-suk transforms into an exorcism master, showing a set of physical exorcism techniques to everyone. He can pull down a series of demon apostles with one hand, and can even punch people flying through a door. This is definitely the most satisfying exorcism action movie of 2025. Recently, various bizarre homicides have occurred frequently in Seoul. The blurring of the boundary between hell and earth has led to demons invading the human world. Professional demon hunter Ma Tong-suk has opened a studio with Sharon and Gimgun named Holy Night. They specialize in solving various unnatural incidents for people. One day, an agent appears with a Mr. Kim. He wants to entrust Ma Tong-suk to help find his daughter. Mr. Kim's daughter is named Linda. She is a well-behaved and sensible child, but she accidentally disappeared some time ago. Because there has been no news from the police, Mr. Kim has sought help from 3 private detectives to find her. In the end, 2 died and the remaining one was also admitted to the intensive care unit. He heard about the Holy Night team. Currently, the private detective has locked Linda's location. Now it's just a matter of rescuing her. Ma Tong-suk says, "Leave this matter to me. Don't worry, the 3 of us are very reliable in handling things." Ma Tong-suk asks Mr. Kim to go home first and wait for news. Then the agent takes out a bag of cash. To avoid leaving transaction traces, they have always only used cash for transactions. Ma Tong-suk takes out a portion of the commission and gives it to the agent. He immediately sets out to rescue Linda. The police chief is watching the latest news. Extremely heinous homicide occurred on a downtown street. The murderer killed in public, and the police who arrived to stop it were also brutally attacked. The murderer completely ignored the surveillance cameras overhead. This is a blatant provocation against police authority. In his 30 years in office, the chief has never seen such a horrifying case. People are all saying it's the work of demons. The chief brings in a priest to dispel doubts. The latter explains that these people believe in the power of Satan and demons, and use this power to commit evil deeds. Ordinary people can't contend with them. Only demon hunters can deal with such murderers. At this point, Ma Tong-suk and the other 2 arrive at Linda's location. Strange incantations are written all over the exterior of the floor. Inside the building are all people delirious from drug abuse. Ma Tong-suk pushes away a person in disgust and walks toward the back of the building. Inside, a group of people in black robes are conducting some kind of ritual. Linda is placed on a strange altar, unable to move. 3 bodyguards wearing masks and knuckle dusters are guarding the perimeter of the ritual. Ma Tong-suk doesn't waste any words and raises his fists to fight. These 3 look intimidating, but when facing Ma Tong-suk they can only take a beating. He knocks the last bodyguard flying. The eyes of the man in the black robe emit an eerie light. It seems he's the demon worshipper the priest mentioned. As expected, these people have a black aura around them when they attack. Ma Tong-suk isn't surprised by this. He uses physical exorcism simply and brutally. No matter what they are, no matter how powerful they are, it's useless if their physical bodies are damaged. Sharon seizes the chance to step forward and perform an exorcism on Linda. Gimgun holds a camera to film. The 3 each take their roles, cooperating tacitly. Sharon firmly holds Linda's head. Strange light-colored patterns appear in her pupils. Then Linda lets out a painful roar. While Sharon concentrates on purifying Linda, Ma Tong-suk is still beating people. Gimgun looks relatively relaxed, only needing to carry a camera and film everywhere. When Ma Tong-suk has almost finished beating people, Sharon's exorcism ritual also enters its final stage. The blue veins on Linda's face fade away and she has returned to normal. Gimgun also discovers tattoos with special patterns behind the ears of several black-robed men. Now that the client's daughter has been rescued, Ma Tong-suk burns the altar and leaves the scene. In a certain hospital, Mary, a female doctor, goes to the inpatient department to visit her younger sister right after finishing her rounds. Since joining the hospital, she has cured many patients, but she can only watch her sister suffer tied to the bed. The girl Kate is normal when not having an attack. Once an attack occurs, she seems possessed by a demon. She even injured a doctor during an examination. Major hospitals are all at a loss regarding her condition. Mary searches for similar symptoms online. She is hesitating whether to place her hopes in metaphysics. Ma Tong-suk is on the phone with a nun. The 2 have maintained contact for years. Ma Tong-suk works hard to make money, just to help build a new building for the orphanage attached to the church. As soon as he finishes speaking, Gimgun and the other person happen to return. He has found information about the tattoos behind those demons' ears. These people worship none other than Beelzebub and Lucifer. However, the leader of the organization hasn't yet been exposed. Recently there have been more and more first-class demons like Beelzebub. Sharon is very worried that a bigger crisis will break out. Although they have come into contact with many more demons than ordinary people, they still feel afraid when encountering higher-ranked ones. It's necessary to be more vigilant and cautious at all times. Recently, just as the 3 are about to return to the office, they encounter Dr. Mary, who comes to consult. Ma Tong-suk asks how she found them. Mary quickly says she was recommended by Father Mark. Ma Tong-suk refuses to help. Mary takes out a stack of cash and begs Ma Tong-suk to save Kate at all costs. As long as her younger sister can return to normal, she is willing to pay any amount. Ma Tong-suk says that if she's sick she should go to the hospital for treatment.
신경정신과 찾으시면 됩니다.
제가 신경정신과 의사입니다.
He still refuses to help. Mary has no choice but to grab Sharon and stuff her sister's videotape and business card into her hand, hoping that Sharon can persuade Ma Tong-suk to take a look at the contents inside. In the evening, Mary returns to the hospital for her shift. She can't help but click on a video recorded when she and her sister first moved into their new home. At that time the two were full of hope and beautiful fantasies about the future. The more Mary watches, the sadder she feels. When she comes back to her senses, she realizes that her sister has actually disappeared from the surveillance footage. She quickly runs to the ward to check the situation. She opens the door and sees that her sister is indeed gone. Just as Mary is puzzled, she suddenly hears someone approaching from behind. When she musters up the courage to turn around, she finds no one there. Instead, her sister has reappeared lying on the hospital bed. Mary tells Father Mark about this situation the next day, but the church has now fully prohibited exorcism rituals. Father Mark is truly unable to help, saying that perhaps only Ma Tong-suk can help, but at this point he is busy distributing wages. Kim-gun can't help but ask, "Aren't you really going to take a look at that female doctor's video? After all, she was recommended by Father Mark." Ma Tong-suk quickly interrupts Kim-gun, "Don't mention that person in front of me." Kim-gun looks unhappy at the thin envelope. There are more and more demons and worshippers. Public panic is constantly spreading, so our workload is also increasing. Anyway, shouldn't we get a raise? Father Mark actually comes to the door, although Kim-gun and Sharon intend to avoid him. Both can't help but eavesdrop around the corner. From what they say, Ma Tong-suk has known the priest since he was a teenager. The priest seemingly raised a person named Joseph back then. After growing up, this person tortured and killed all the children in the orphanage, causing all of Ma Tong-suk's companions to die overnight. From then on he swore he would no longer have anything to do with any clergy. The priest knows Ma Tong-suk still hates him, but he doesn't want the other party to take out his anger on Mary because of this. That girl truly wants to save her younger sister, and right now only Ma Tong-suk can help with this. At the same time, Kate in the hospital has another episode. Several orderlies work together to hold down Kate, who is struggling wildly in the hospital bed. After the priest leaves, Kim-gun is curious about Kate's condition, so he opens the female doctor's video to watch. After watching it, he feels extremely uncomfortable. As soon as he turns off the computer, Sharon's face reflected on the screen almost scares him to death. Sharon asks Kim-gun what he is afraid of. 7 years ago, it was the boss who saved us from the demons. If it weren't for his help, we would have died long ago. What is there to be afraid of for someone who has already died once? Why don't we find a way to save Kate? Upon hearing this, Kim-gun opens the video again. From the content it can be learned that, since Kate moved into a remote house 5 years ago, she has been practicing ballet alone at home all day. Due to the great pressure of stage auditions, Kate has pushed herself very hard. Mary felt tender-hearted and advised her to take a rest.
언니, 이번엔 느낌이 좋아.
Subsequently, Kate's behavior became more and more strange. Strange phenomena also frequently occurred in the house. Mary was leaning against the desk sleeping when Kate leaned over with a crooked neck to observe her sister. Moreover, she would occasionally appear in various corners of the house and wouldn't stay in bed properly at night either. After Mary noticed, she searched the entire house for her sister. Finally, she saw Kate standing in the dance studio, continuously hitting her head against the wall. She banged her forehead until it turned blue and purple, while still holding a dagger in her hand. Before Mary could step forward to stop her, Kate stabbed herself with the knife. All signs indicate that she is possessed by a demon. Ma Tong-suk fiercely punches a sandbag to calm his emotions. After calming down, he looks at the group photo of the orphanage. Finally, he agrees to watch the video brought by Mary. It records Kate's changes over several months. During this period, Mary was almost strangled to death by her sister. Kate's emotions fluctuate wildly. When she is quiet, she stares at the TV non-stop, with scars from self-inflicted cuts on her face. One day, her body suddenly loses control, as if an invisible hand is grabbing and tossing her around. Kate gradually begins to harm herself, leaving Mary powerless and nearly drowning in tears. In an earlier video, Ma Tong-suk notices the person who helped Mary install the surveillance camera has a demon symbol tattoo behind the ear. Sharon believes that the strange occurrences with Kate must be related to the recent demon incidents. This group worships the fallen angel Lucifer, who was once reincarnated in Joseph, the very child raised in the orphanage. Ma Tong-suk, Father Mark and Joseph grew up in the same welfare institution. Father Mark and Joseph are only 3 years apart in age. Sister Angela has always cared for them like a mother, and Ma Tong-suk has been physically strong and incredibly powerful since childhood. While Joseph possesses an exorcism talent to save those possessed, the other children feared and alienated Joseph, but Ma Tong-suk protected him very much. The two were almost like brothers. Later, as the children in the orphanage grew up, Joseph became an exorcist. After leaving, Ma Tong-suk goes to an underground boxing ring to earn money by fighting. Mark stays as a priest in the orphanage continuing to care for the children and Joseph. Every Christmas, Ma Tong-suk would come back to visit everyone. However, on Christmas Eve 15 years ago, Joseph was controlled by the demon within him and killed Sister Angela and all the children in the orphanage. He has disappeared without a trace ever since. It was because Ma Tong-suk wanted to avenge everyone that he embarked on the path of being an exorcist. Ma Tong-suk still can't overcome his inner demons, but fortunately his strong will has prevented demons from taking advantage of his weaknesses. At that time Joseph tried to absorb others' life force to nourish his own evil power. In fact, Mark had already noticed something was wrong with Joseph, but he couldn't believe the child he had raised was a demon, so he kept it hidden from the church and didn't report it, which led to this great disaster. When Ma Tong-suk learned of this, he immediately broke with the priest. This time the two meet because of Mary's matter, and they have actually been apart for over a decade. After figuring it out, Ma Tong-suk contacts Mary and says he is willing to meet and talk. He briefly introduces the process of the exorcism ritual. The ritual is mainly presided over by Sharon, with assistant Gimgun assisting alongside. In a case like Kate's, the exorcism may attract the possessed or demon worshippers. Ma Tong-suk is responsible for clearing these obstacles. This matter is extremely risky. Everyone may be put in danger. Therefore Sharon asks Mary to think carefully whether she really wants to get involved. Mary risks her life to save her sister, but she just can't understand why the demon chose Kate. Gimgun explains from the side, there is a group of cultists who disguise themselves as kind people. We call these people worshippers. After rigorous training, these worshippers are responsible for guarding the bishops of each diocese and selecting sacrifices according to the archbishop's instructions. They used Kate as a medium to summon a certain demon. Vulnerable individuals with pure souls like Kate are easily chosen. After the three introduce the current situation, they immediately go to the hospital to visit Kate. The girl is rarely conscious and lucid. She tells Sharon that someone is hiding inside her body, talking non-stop. She is so scared and wants to drive out the possessor. Upon hearing this, Sharon places her hand on Kate's forehead and begins the exorcism, interrogating the possessed demon's name. Kate emits a harsh laugh and insults Sharon. Immediately after, the entire bed starts to move. Kate floats into the air and stands on the iron frame at the head of the bed. As soon as Sharon chants a prayer, she cries out in pain and rolls on the ground. Ma Tong-suk quickly picks up Kate and pins her to the bed to prevent her from accidentally hurting herself. Sharon's eyes turn white as she intensifies the exorcism. Unexpectedly, Kate erupts with enormous energy, sending the four people around the bed flying. When they get up, they find that Kate has actually disappeared. Everyone rushes to the monitoring room to check carefully and quickly spots her figure in the corridor, but the next second Kate appears in front of every camera. Sharon can sense that the situation is very bad. The four quickly run to the corridor to look for Kate. All the patients in the inpatient department pounce on them like they're possessed. This is when Ma Tong-suk steps in. He grabs a stretcher bed to block the patients and tells Sharon and the others to go find Kate first. At the same time, Kate has reached the hospital entrance. The young security guard immediately steps forward to stop her. As soon as he approaches, he drops to his knees and starts kowtowing to the ground. By the time Sharon catches up, Kate has left the hospital. Mary speeds up to catch up with her sister, but Kate is sucked into the darkness, and in an instant she stands in the middle of the road. Cars are flowing all around. Mary can only stand on the side of the road and shout, telling her sister not to move. Kate says with a sobbing voice, "I'm so scared." Upon hearing this, Mary rushes into the road regardless of the danger. At this point, Kate showed a triumphant smile. Fortunately, she safely reaches her sister's side. Just then, a truck suddenly rushes over. In a moment of crisis, Ma Tong-suk drives into it to knock it away, saving Mary and her sister's lives. Sharon points out that the demon has possessed Kate's body, making it difficult to identify its true identity. "I'm afraid we have to go back to the place where it all began to settle this once and for all." Everyone hurries to the Suburban villa. They carefully check the doors, windows and cameras, then tie Kate to a chair and nail the four legs of the chair into the floor. To ensure Kate can't break free, Sharon's exorcism is divided into 6 stages, with the goal of each stage being to make the demon reveal its name and then expel it from Kate's body. Once the exorcism begins, it can't be stopped, otherwise everyone present will be in danger. The first stage is manifestation. Confirming the existence of the evil spirit, Sharon brings a bamboo whip close to Kate. The demon inside her is good at disguising itself, instantly putting on a pitiful look to beg her sister for help. Ma Tong-suk reminds Mary not to be deceived. The whip fails to make it manifest. Sharon can only switch to a bronze mirror. Unexpectedly, the mirror's surface cracks right away. The demon finally reveals its true nature, retorting to Sharon, "Do you really want to know my name? I am everywhere and nowhere to be found." Unexpectedly, this demon is quite confident. At this point, Ma Tong-suk keenly captures the intrusion of someone. He leaves the room to check the corridor, which is empty and shows no abnormalities. However, the next second, Ma Tong-suk smashes the wall panel and pulls out a worshipper from inside. He forcefully slams the other person downstairs. As he is about to return to the room, he sees Several worshippers blocking the path, Ma Tong-suk immediately starts fighting. Ma Tong-suk is like a large bulldozer, leaving nothing intact wherever he goes. The last worshipper is also terrified and hurriedly flees to the next room. Unexpectedly, Ma Tong-suk smashes the door panel. As he's about to step forward to confirm the situation, the boy on the ground unexpectedly throws a handful of white powder. Ma Tong-suk feels dizzy after inhaling it. The worshipper intends to take advantage of the opportunity to break into the exorcism room. Ma Tong-suk staggers over and knocks out the worshipper. At the same time, Kate struggles to stand up from the chair, demanding to know if Sharon is afraid of her. Otherwise, why don't you dare come near the salt circle? Sharon ignores the demon's provocation and only repeats the prayer. The exorcism ritual has now entered the third stage, and the demon has become very quiet. When Gim-gun sees the situation outside the door, he immediately ties up the worshipper on the ground. It's Sharon who first notices something is wrong with Mary. Her pupils are dilated and she's muttering something under her breath. As soon as Sharon touches Mary, the latter collapses to the ground and convulses violently. Sharon quickly helps Mary expel the demon from her body. It seems there are other unclean things in this room. Sharon presses her palm against the wallpaper to sense, and quickly locates a strong demonic aura. Ma Tong-suk tears open the wallpaper and sees that the wall is covered with incantations, looking very similar to those on Linda's building. Sharon asks Ma Tong-suk to destroy these characters, and the latter picks up a hammer and smashes the wall. Kate upstairs senses it and keeps screaming. Gim-gun hurriedly runs over to check on the situation. Kate explains it feels like something has left my body. As Gim-gun is about to be deceived, Ma Tong-suk comes in time to pull him back.
기억나지? 네가 그 불쌍한 아이들을 다 죽게 만들었잖아.
It turns out the demon is trying to deceive again. As soon as Sharon hears this, she knows the soundstage has begun. Demons can perceive everyone's weaknesses, and then confuse others with words, and the orphanage tragedy is precisely Ma Tong-suk's weakness. The demon takes advantage of this, deliberately making the sound of a child crying for help. Ma Tong-suk relaxes for a moment and is indeed haunted by his inner demons. He turns around and chokes the other party, only wanting to kill the demon quickly, but it's actually Sharon standing beside him. That Ma Tong-suk is choking. Kate lets out a happy laugh. Only then does Ma Tong-suk regain his senses. Fortunately, Sharon is unharmed, and immediately picks up the sacred knife to start the next stage. Unexpectedly, Kate exhales a breath of cold air, directly freezing Sharon's blade. A layer of frost also forms on the room's glass. Kate takes the opportunity to enter Sharon's consciousness. Unfortunately, she underestimates the exorcist's abilities. Sharon is not only not confused, but also turns around to hold Kate's forehead. Just as she is about to force the demon to reveal its name, Kate pitifully begs her sister for help. Mary, in a moment of urgency, breaks the salt circle. The next second, the entire room begins to shake. Kate finally breaks free from the chair, lying on the ground in a strange pose. She quickly climbs up the wall and disappears. The exorcism ritual officially enters the confrontation stage. The four split up to search for Kate's location. Furniture flies everywhere along the way, and all the inanimate objects in the room are controlled by the demon. Mary is almost hit by a wardrobe. Just as Ma Tong-suk steps in to save her, he notices that Gim-gun is also lifted into the air. Sharon props herself with her hands on the ground to break the demon's control, and Ma Tong-suk quickly catches Gim-gun as he falls. Since Kate can't be found anywhere, Ma Tong-suk asks Mary, "Are there any other rooms in this house?" Mary remembers there is a warehouse, which was told to her by a neighbor. Now that she thinks carefully, the neighbor aunt also has a tattoo behind her ear, because there are not many people with tattoos at this age, so Mary remembers it very clearly. Ma Tong-suk immediately rushes into the warehouse to check, and although he doesn't find Kate, he discovers that there is actually a basement in the warehouse. An archbishop is hiding inside casting a spell, and his facial features have already become distorted. Ma Tong-suk assumes a boxing stance, swinging punches left and right at the bishop and his worshippers. Black demonic energy erupts the moment their bodies make contact, but Ma Tong-suk remains unaffected and continues his fierce attack. The bishop throws a handful of powder at Ma Tong-suk, and then takes the opportunity to loop a rope around his neck, ordering someone to grab the other end of the rope. Ma Tong-suk pulls the opponent down with one hand, knocking away the worshipper in front of him. 3 or 4 people rush over to pull the rope together, trying to hang Ma Tong-suk. The archbishop takes the opportunity to stab Ma Tong-suk in the shoulder, and there's something strange about the knife, almost causing Ma Tong-suk to become demonized on the spot. Sharon discovers Kate heavily demonized on the ceiling, and she pounces on Sharon to hold her down. Fortunately, Gim-gun promptly grabs Kate and throws her aside, but Sharon still faints due to excessive exhaustion. In this critical moment, worshippers also come to cause trouble. Gim-gun fights them to protect Sharon, and it seems he can't hold on much longer. When Ma Tong-suk finally returns to help Gimgun deal with the worshippers during Sharon's coma, she finally knows the true nature of the demon in Kate's body, which is a demon that specializes in devouring young girls' souls, named Moloch. Sharon immediately enters the final stage of the exorcism, her eyes turn white again as she accurately calls out the demon's name. Kate floats into the air, as a huge wave of energy surges in. Finally a stream of black gas gradually leaves Kate's body, but Moloch is unwilling to give up, actually trying to drag Kate into hell as well. Mary risks her life to hold her sister tightly, and Sharon and Gimgun also rush to help. The three risk their lives to save Kate, and finally Ma Tong-suk beats the demon back to hell. This disaster finally comes to an end, and Kate returns to her sister's embrace. The movie ends here. In fact, focusing on making a violent action movie about Ma Tong-suk fighting monsters would be more appealing than an exorcism-themed one, because the core of the entire story is still exorcism, and the processes of exorcism and demon possession are portrayed in the same way in all movies, basically lacking any originality. In addition, the girl controlled by the demon gives an excellent performance, probably being the biggest highlight besides Ma Tong-suk himself. If you like my channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to it.